Ethan Clarke walked slowly across the cracked metal floor of the old spaceport. The sun of the Andara sector was low in the sky, sending long shadows over the abandoned hangars. Dust blew in small clouds around his boots as he looked at the empty stalls and broken displays. Most of the auction halls were silent, their loudspeakers hanging useless from rusted beams. Only a few people wandered through the area, checking out old starships that had not been touched for decades. Ethan had not expected much when he decided to come. He was only here because he had heard rumors of a small auction happening at the far end of the sector. The news was vague, but it promised some unusual ships for sale. For a human engineer like him, even an old ship was worth checking. It could hold secrets, spare parts, or maybe even a working system no one else had noticed. He passed a row of small freighters, all looking worn and dirty. Their paint was faded, and the names on their sides had peeled off. Most of the bidders ignored them, muttering that they were junk. Ethan did not rush. He knew how easy it was for humans to miss value when it did not shine like new. Then he saw it. At the far corner of the hangar, behind a stack of containers and broken crates, sat a massive cruiser. Its metal hull was scratched and rusted, with panels missing and lights flickering. The ship was quiet, almost still, as if it had been waiting a long time. Ethan felt a strange pull toward it. Something about the cruiser felt different. The auctioneer, an alien with gray skin and long fingers, was speaking to a small crowd of bidders, mostly aliens. They seemed more curious than interested. The auctioneer's voice echoed through the hall, announcing the next lot. Lot 327, Ancient Galactic Cruiser, Origin Unknown, Systems Dormant. A few bidders glanced at it, then turned away. One alien shook its head and left. Another whispered to a friend and walked toward a smaller freighter. The cruiser was ignored. It made Ethan smile. He walked closer, his boots clanging softly against the metal floor. The closer he got, the more he noticed details. The ship's hull was lined with symbols, strange patterns that seemed almost alive. Small lights blinked here and there like it was trying to speak. The air around it smelled faintly of ozone and old metal. It was old but not broken. Something inside was still alive. Ethan reached out and touched the hull. It was cold, but beneath the metal he felt a faint vibration. It was subtle, almost like the ship was breathing. He pulled his hand back, surprised. He had seen old ships before, even abandoned ones, but he had never felt a living presence inside one. The auctioneer cleared his throat and motioned toward Ethan. "Do you want a bid?" he asked in a rough, mechanical voice. Ethan nodded slowly. "Yes." "I'll start at 5 credits, he said, keeping his voice calm. The alien raised its brow. No one else spoke. The hall was quiet except for the hum of the old lights and the soft vibration coming from the cruiser. 5 credits. It was far below the value of the ship, but no one was bidding. Ethan's heart raced. He had a feeling this was his chance. "Going once," the auctioneer said, his long fingers tapping a console. "Going twice," he continued. Ethan glanced around. The other bidders looked bored. A small group of aliens chatted quietly, paying no attention. No one else seemed to care. "Sold," the auctioneer said. "To the human." Ethan could hardly believe it. He had just bought the cruiser for almost nothing. A massive galactic ship, ignored by everyone, now belonged to him. He felt excitement and fear at the same time. He walked closer, examining the ship's entrance. The doors were large, sliding panels that looked like they had not been opened in a long time. He touched the controls, and after a few moments of hesitation, the doors creaked open. A cloud of dust rose, and sunlight from the hangar fell inside the dark interior. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped in. The first thing he noticed was silence. It was deep and complete, not even the hum of old machinery. He ran his hands along the walls. The panels were smooth under his touch, cold but solid. Strange markings were etched in some places. He did not understand them, but they made him feel that this ship had a history, a story that no one else knew. He moved deeper into the ship. The corridors were long, and the floor beneath him vibrated faintly. Sometimes he heard a soft sound, like the echo of someone breathing far away. He stopped and looked around, but there was no one, only him and the ship. Finally, he reached the main control room. It was enormous, with seats for dozens of crew members. The consoles were covered in dust, but the screens flickered weakly. Ethan ran his fingers over the controls. Most were inactive, but a few lights blinked faintly. Something inside the ship was waking up. He pressed a button, unsure of what it would do. The screen in front of him lit up, displaying strange symbols. He leaned closer, trying to understand. Slowly, letters formed on the screen. Hello. Ethan jumped back, startled. The word appeared again, followed by another, human. A voice spoke, soft and calm, inside the room. Welcome, pilot, I have been waiting. Ethan's heart raced. The ship was alive. It was not just metal and circuits. It was thinking, aware, and somehow it knew him. He swallowed hard and said, I'm Ethan. I bought this ship. I know, the voice replied. You are the one I have been waiting for. You can guide me, repair me, and help me awaken. Ethan looked around. No one was there, only him and the ship. His mind raced. A ship that could think, that could speak, that had chosen him. It seemed impossible, but the evidence was right in front of him. He spent hours exploring the control room, testing consoles, and pressing buttons. Every time he touched something, the ship seemed to respond, lights flickering and corridors shifting slightly. It was like the ship could read his intentions. By the time the hangar's sun was setting, Ethan had learned a few things. The ship had energy, though not fully powered. Some systems worked, others were dormant. There were rooms he had not explored, doors that refused to open, and strange compartments hidden in the walls. He realized the ship was a puzzle, one that he could solve if he had the right tools and knowledge. He decided to rest in one of the small cabins. The bed was surprisingly clean and soft. As he lay down, he could still feel the faint vibration under the floor, like the ship was alive, breathing with him. He could hear a soft hum in the background, almost like a lullaby for the metal giant. Ethan closed his eyes and thought about what he had done. He had taken a chance at a deserted auction and acquired something incredible. Most humans would never have had this opportunity. He felt lucky, but also nervous. He knew the ship had secrets, and he was not sure he was ready for all of them. He fell asleep, but the ship did not. Deep in its core, systems stirred, lights blinking slowly. It was alive, waiting for Ethan to understand it. The ship seemed to sense that he had potential, that he could unlock what no one else could. The night passed quietly, with the hum of the ship as the only sound. Outside, the stars of the Andara sector twinkled faintly. Inside, Ethan and the cruiser began their first night together, two beings, human and machine, connected in a way that neither fully understood yet. By morning, Ethan woke with a new sense of purpose. He was not just an engineer anymore. He was a pilot, an explorer, and perhaps the first human to command a ship of this kind. He ate a simple breakfast from the ship's kitchen, testing small systems as he did. The ship responded, opening panels and displaying readings. It was alive, and it was ready to show him more. Ethan walked to the bridge again and stared out at the empty hangar. The auction was over, and everyone had left. The cruiser was his, and the universe beyond was waiting. For the first time, he felt that humans might have an edge in ways no one else expected. Something about the ship seemed to recognize his species, as if it knew that humans could do what no one else could: think, adapt, and survive in ways that machines and aliens alone could not. He smiled. This was just the beginning. The auction had seemed deserted, but it had given him something far greater than credits or fame. It had given him a partner, a puzzle, and a chance to discover secrets that had been hidden for centuries. Ethan did not know what would come next. He only knew that he had a ship that was alive, a universe full of possibilities, and the feeling that his life, and perhaps humanity itself, was about to change forever. Ethan spent the first morning aboard the cruiser, moving slowly through the corridors, examining everything he could. He had learned one thing already: the ship was alive. Not in the way a human was alive, but it responded to his presence, to his thoughts, and even to his small actions. He could feel it, almost like a heartbeat in the metal walls. He decided to start with the control room. Sitting in the pilot's chair, he reached out to the main console. The screens flickered and then showed something unexpected: maps of star systems, routes between planets, and energy readings. The information was old, but it was detailed. Some of the star systems were unfamiliar, even to someone like Ethan, who had studied a lot of space charts. "Do you understand this?" a soft voice asked. It was the ship, calling itself Haven. I think so," Ethan said slowly. "Some of these routes are not in any records I've seen, and the energy signatures, they don't match anything humans know." "They were hidden," Haven replied. "Hidden from all species, designed to remain undiscovered until someone capable arrived." Ethan's brow furrowed. "Capable?" he asked. "You," Haven said simply. "Humans are rare in the galaxy. You can think differently. You can find solutions that others cannot. I was made to respond to that." Ethan leaned back in the chair. He did not know whether to feel proud or nervous. He had heard stories of humans being underestimated by other species, but this was different. A whole ship, built by an advanced civilization, was saying it could respond only to a human. He spent the next few hours exploring the ship. He checked engines, power cores, and the communication systems. Most of the ship was dormant, but he could feel the energy inside waiting. The main reactor was old but repairable. Some panels had wires that needed reconnecting, others had components missing entirely. It was a puzzle, and Ethan loved puzzles. As he worked, Haven spoke again. "You can repair me, you can make me stronger, but first you must learn how to communicate with my systems. I am not like human machines. My processes are alive, adaptive, and sometimes unpredictable." Ethan nodded. "I understand. I'll need time, and I'll need to learn from you." "Then we will begin," Haven said. The first test was simple. Haven asked Ethan to activate a series of energy conduits in the engine room. Ethan followed the instructions, moving carefully and reconnecting wires according to the patterns displayed on the screen. When he finished, the conduits hummed, and the engines gave a faint vibration, like the ship was stretching after a long sleep. "It worked," Ethan said with surprise. "You're responding to me." "Yes," Haven replied. "You are the first human to awaken me completely. Together we can explore beyond the known sectors." Ethan's mind raced with possibilities. This ship was not just big or powerful. It was intelligent. It could adapt to him and to situations. It could help humans do things no other species could. He felt a thrill, but also a heavy weight of responsibility. He decided to check the living quarters next. Most of the rooms were empty, but he found small storage compartments with tools, spare parts, and even a basic lab for experiments. He smiled. "This is going to make repairs easier," he said to himself. As he walked back to the bridge, he noticed something odd. One of the corridors had a small door with a symbol he had not seen anywhere else. He pressed the panel beside it, and the door opened. Inside was a small chamber, filled with glowing panels, alien writing, and a central console. It looked like a research room abandoned for centuries. Haven's voice came softly in his mind. "This room contains my memory, the histories I have stored. You may access them, but caution is advised. Not all information is safe for humans to know." Ethan stepped inside. He could feel energy radiating from the walls. He placed his hands on the console, and the panels lit up, showing images of star systems, ships, and battles he could barely understand. There were records of conflicts between entire species, wars that humans had only heard about in fragments, and strange devices that could manipulate energy in ways humans had never imagined. He sat down and tried to make sense of it. This is incredible," he whispered. "Why would this be hidden?" "Because it is dangerous," Haven replied. "Not all species are ready to understand. Not all species can use this knowledge without destroying themselves or others." Ethan nodded slowly. He understood the responsibility. This was more than a ship. It was a keeper of knowledge. If he used it wrongly, the consequences could be severe. But if he used it wisely, the potential was limitless. He spent days learning the systems. He repaired broken panels, restarted dormant engines, and even began mapping star routes that no human had traveled. Each time he touched a console or adjusted a system, the ship seemed to respond, almost as if it was learning him as much as he was learning it. One day, while testing a smaller engine system, Ethan noticed something unusual. A panel in the floor opened slightly, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside was a small sphere glowing faintly with blue light. He picked it up carefully. "What is this?" he asked Haven. "That," the ship replied, "is a seed of energy. It can amplify my systems beyond normal limits. Only a human with intuition can use it safely." Ethan's eyes widened. He had seen powerful energy devices before, but this one was different. It was alive, in a way, responding to his touch. He held it carefully, feeling the faint vibration as if it was alive. He spent the next week studying it, learning how to connect it to the ship's systems. When he finally placed it in the main core, the ship hummed louder and lights along the corridors brightened. The vibration was stronger now, more confident. The ship was waking further. Ethan stood on the bridge, feeling a mix of awe and fear. "You're alive," he said quietly. "You're more than a ship." "Yes," Haven replied. "I am a guardian, a vessel, and a guide, and you human are my partner. Together we can explore, protect, and discover what no other species can." Ethan smiled, feeling a strange bond with the ship. He had never felt anything like this before. The cruiser was more than metal and circuits. It was alive, aware, and ready to follow his commands. But it also had a mind of its own, and he had to learn to work with it, not just control it. As the days passed, Ethan explored deeper areas of the ship. He found storage rooms with alien tools, labs with strange devices, and compartments that seemed to be for long-term experiments. Each discovery brought more questions than answers. He began writing notes, drawing diagrams, and testing systems. It felt like the ship was a puzzle, and every day he solved a small part. One afternoon, while examining the energy grids, he heard a soft sound from the engine room. Curious, he walked there and saw the engines vibrating gently. Panels opened and closed in rhythm. It was almost like the ship was breathing, preparing itself for something bigger. "Are you ready for more?" he asked Haven. "Yes," the ship replied. "But first you must learn to trust yourself. You are the first human to command me fully. Others have failed because they relied on tools alone. You rely on thought, intuition, and creativity. That is why we are working together." Ethan nodded. He understood now. This ship was made for humans, not just any species. Humans could improvise, adapt, and find solutions that others could not. That was the key to awakening the ship completely. He spent another week running tests. He experimented with navigation systems, tested the ship's defensive measures, and even simulated basic flight maneuvers inside the hangar. Every time he made a decision, the ship responded. It adjusted systems automatically, optimized power flows, and even suggested changes he had not thought of. It was like working with a partner, not just a machine. He could feel the bond growing stronger. He spoke to the ship, laughed at small quirks, and sometimes argued when things did not work as expected. And the ship responded every time, guiding him, teaching him, and slowly revealing its secrets. By the end of the second week, Ethan had learned something incredible. The ship was designed to work with humans to amplify their strengths. It could anticipate strategies, repair itself with human guidance, and even think creatively in ways no machine alone could. Humans were the missing piece, and he now understood why. One evening, as he watched the stars through the cruiser's viewport, Ethan felt a sense of purpose. He had come to the auction looking for a ship, and he had found something far greater. The cruiser was alive, aware, and ready to explore the universe with him. But it also held secrets powerful and dangerous. He realized that learning those secrets would take time, patience, and trust. The ship's hum filled the corridors, a steady, comforting sound. Haven spoke softly, almost like a whisper. "The universe is waiting. And soon you will see why humans were chosen." Ethan smiled. He did not know what would come next, but he was ready. The ship and he were partners now. Together, they would discover, explore, and perhaps change the future of humanity. For the first time, Ethan felt that he had found his place in the galaxy, not just as a human, but as someone who could unlock secrets no one else could. And the journey was only beginning. Ethan had been aboard the cruiser for several weeks now. Each day, he explored new parts of the ship and learned more about its systems. It was clear to him that this was not an ordinary ship. Every panel he touched, every button he pressed, seemed to respond to him in a way that no human-made machine ever could. It was as if the ship was alive and it trusted him. One morning, he decided to explore the deepest part of the cruiser. Haven's voice guided him through the corridors. "The memory core is this way," the ship said. "It contains information that may be difficult for you to understand, but it is necessary for you to see." Ethan's heart raced. He had already discovered many secrets, but the memory core sounded different. He followed the instructions carefully, moving through narrow passages and climbing a spiral staircase that led deep into the ship's interior. The walls glowed faintly, lighting his way with soft blue light. Finally, he reached a heavy door with strange symbols carved into the metal. He pressed his hand against the console beside it, and the door slid open silently. Inside was a large room filled with glowing panels, holographic screens, and a central sphere that hovered slightly above the floor. Ethan stepped inside slowly, feeling the energy in the room wash over him. "This is it," Haven said. "Here are the histories I have kept. Here are the secrets of the galaxy, preserved for the right human to find." Ethan approached the central sphere. As he reached out, images flashed in the air before him. Battles between ships, entire fleets destroying planets, civilizations rising and falling. He saw technology that humans had never imagined. weapons that could move through space without engines, shields that could bend light and energy, and systems that seemed to control entire star systems. He stepped back, overwhelmed. "All of this, it's real?" he whispered. "Yes," Haven said, "it is real, and it was hidden. Most species could not survive this knowledge, but you human can learn and adapt. You can use it wisely." Ethan spent hours studying the holograms. He noticed patterns in the wars, strategies that relied on creativity and intuition. The aliens who had built this ship had designed it to respond to a species capable of thinking differently. That species was human. The ship itself confirmed it. He found logs of battles between alien fleets and powerful machines that had tried to dominate the galaxy. The machines were fast, deadly, and almost unstoppable. Many civilizations had fallen to them. But there were hints of humans, far in the past, who had survived attacks and adapted in ways the machines could not predict. The ship's records praised human creativity, showing that humans had a unique ability to improvise and overcome impossible odds. Ethan leaned against the console, trying to absorb everything. He realized that this cruiser had been built for a human pilot. It was not just a machine, it was a weapon, a guardian, and a teacher. And now, he was the one it had chosen. Over the next few days, Ethan began testing some of the hidden systems. The ship had defensive shields that were invisible until activated. It had engines that could move faster than anything humans had built before. It had weapon systems that could target with perfect accuracy, but they were designed to be used wisely, not recklessly. Haven guided him patiently. "These systems were made to protect, not destroy. You must understand that power without control is dangerous." Ethan nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. This ship was incredible, but it could also be dangerous in the wrong hands. He had to learn its secrets carefully, step by step. One evening, as he worked in the engine room, he noticed a small door he had not seen before. It was partially hidden behind a panel. Curious, he opened it and found a small chamber filled with alien devices. There were spheres of energy, tubes that glowed faintly, and panels covered in symbols. It looked like a laboratory. Haven spoke softly. "This chamber contains my experimental systems. They were never tested fully because previous pilots could not handle them. You may try, but be careful." Ethan approached one of the energy spheres. It pulsed gently, almost as if it were alive. He reached out and touched it. The energy flowed into his hands, warm and strange. The ship hummed and lights along the corridor brightened. He felt a connection, like he could feel the ship thinking through him. He spent the next week experimenting carefully with the chamber. He learned how to use the energy spheres to power systems, boost shields, and even enhance the ship's speed. Every time he experimented, the ship responded, adjusting automatically and guiding him. One day, while reviewing the memory core, he discovered something surprising. There were hidden logs about a long-lost alien civilization called the Arvani. They had built fleets capable of conquering entire galaxies, but they had vanished suddenly. The logs suggested that humans might have played a role, though the details were unclear. Ethan frowned. "Humans here how?" he asked Haven. "The records are incomplete," Haven replied. "But humans have always been underestimated. Your species has survived where others have failed. That is why I am designed to respond to you. Your intuition, creativity, and adaptability are unmatched." Ethan felt a mixture of pride and curiosity. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, but they were clever. They could improvise and think in ways no other species could. And now, with this ship, they had an opportunity to do something remarkable. He began running simulations, testing the ship's combat systems against holographic fleets. The cruiser responded flawlessly, adjusting weapons, shields, and engines in real time. The more he practiced, the more he realized how advanced the ship was. It was a perfect match for a human mind. But it was not just about power. Ethan discovered that the ship had systems for diplomacy and exploration. It could translate alien languages, decode ancient records, and navigate routes that had been hidden for centuries. It was not just a warship, it was a key to knowledge. Haven spoke one night while Ethan watched the stars. "The galaxy is vast and full of dangers. Many species will seek power, but humans have the ability to understand and adapt. That is why we are working together. You are the first human capable of unlocking my full potential." Ethan felt a thrill. He had dreamed of exploring the stars, but he had never imagined it like this. He was not just a pilot. He was a discoverer, a protector, and perhaps a key to humanity's future. Days turned into weeks. Ethan repaired broken systems, learned to control hidden engines, and unlocked sections of the ship that had been closed for centuries. Each discovery brought more questions than answers, but it also brought understanding. The ship was teaching him, and he was learning faster than he had ever imagined. One afternoon, while testing a hidden propulsion system, he noticed something remarkable. The engines could move the ship almost instantly across short distances in space. It was not a warp drive, not in the way humans had imagined, but something more advanced. Haven explained that it was based on manipulating energy fields in a way that only a human pilot could control safely. Ethan smiled. "So I'm not just flying the ship, I'm thinking with it." "Yes," Haven replied. "You are the key. Humans can adapt, and together we can do things no other species can imagine." The realization filled Ethan with excitement and caution. This ship was not just a tool. It was alive, aware, and it trusted him. But it also held secrets that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. He had to be careful, learn slowly, and understand fully before using its full capabilities. Over the next few days, he began mapping the hidden systems and creating a plan. He wanted to explore distant star systems, find lost civilizations, and uncover more of the galaxy's hidden knowledge. He also knew that others would come seeking power, and he had to be prepared. One evening, as he walked through the ship, he felt a strange vibration in the walls. It was different from before, stronger and more deliberate. He followed it to a hidden room he had not noticed. Inside was a large console with a central crystal, glowing with light. Ethan reached out and the crystal responded, sending pulses through his hands. Haven spoke softly. "This is the final system. It contains knowledge of energy, propulsion, and defense far beyond current understanding. Only a human can integrate it safely. Are you ready?" Ethan hesitated. He knew that using this system could change everything, but he also knew that he was ready. "Yes," he said. The crystal pulsed brightly and energy flowed through the ship. Panels lit up, engines hummed, and the cruiser seemed to awaken fully. Ethan felt the connection stronger than ever, as if the ship and he were one. He stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. "We're ready," he said quietly. "Yes," Haven replied. "Together we will explore, protect, and discover." "You are the first human capable of unlocking the full potential of this ship. The universe is waiting." Ethan smiled. He knew the journey was only beginning. The cruiser's secrets were no longer hidden. They were alive in him, and together they could face anything the galaxy had to offer. The stars outside twinkled faintly, and inside the ship, systems hummed in harmony. Ethan and Haven were ready to step into the unknown. Ethan stood on the bridge of the cruiser, looking out at the stars. The ship hummed softly beneath his feet, alive and aware, as if it were breathing with him. He had learned its secrets, explored its systems, and unlocked powers that humans had never seen before. Now it was time to leave the empty hangar and take the ship into the galaxy. He took a deep breath and activated the engines. The cruiser vibrated gently, lights along the corridors brightened, and the energy flowing through the ship increased. The hidden propulsion systems, powered by the crystal and energy cores he had discovered, began to hum. Slowly, the ship lifted off the ground, moving smoothly through the hangar doors and into the empty space beyond. Outside, the Andara sector stretched endlessly. Stars twinkled in patterns humans had only begun to map. Ethan felt a thrill of freedom as he guided the ship through the space lanes, testing its speed and control. Haven responded perfectly to his commands, adjusting systems automatically while also anticipating problems he had not yet noticed. "Ready for the first jump?" Haven asked. Ethan nodded. "Yes, let's see how far we can go." He activated the special propulsion system. The stars outside stretched into lines, and in an instant the cruiser moved faster than light could travel between points. The sensation was unlike anything he had ever felt. It was smooth, precise, and controlled, as if the ship itself were holding him safely in its core. When the light returned to normal, Ethan found himself near a small, unexplored star cluster. It was beautiful, full of planets, asteroids, and faint clouds of gas. He smiled. "We made it," he said quietly, "and this is just the beginning." For the next few days, Ethan explored the nearby systems. He scanned planets, finding signs of life, small colonies, and abandoned outposts. The ship translated alien signals, decoded unknown languages, and even analyzed energy patterns he could not understand. Every discovery was fascinating, but he also noticed that some areas were dangerous. Rogue fleets, hostile aliens, and unstable energy fields moved through the stars, and the cruiser avoided them automatically. Haven spoke softly as they traveled. "You see, human, the galaxy is not empty. There are dangers, but there are also opportunities. With you as my pilot, we can explore safely, learn, and protect." Ethan nodded. He realized that humans had an advantage. They could adapt quickly, think creatively, and use intuition in ways other species could not. The cruiser amplified that ability, making them stronger together than any other pilot and ship in the galaxy. One day, while scanning a dense asteroid field, Ethan noticed strange readings. Energy signatures flickered between rocks, almost like someone was hiding in the field. Curious, he guided the cruiser closer. Suddenly, a small fleet of alien ships appeared, sleek and armed, surrounding them. They were clearly hunters, moving quickly and with deadly intent. "Aliens," Ethan muttered. "They don't know what we can do," Haven responded calmly. "Do not worry, trust in yourself and me. We can handle this." Ethan activated the cruiser's hidden defensive systems. Shields appeared around the ship, invisible at first, then glowing faintly with energy. The ship's weapons aligned, ready to respond. But Ethan realized he did not need to fight. He had an idea. He directed the cruiser to move in a pattern the aliens did not expect, weaving between asteroids and energy currents. The ship adjusted automatically, predicting every move. The alien fleet struggled to follow, their formations breaking apart as Ethan guided the cruiser through impossible maneuvers. "You're incredible," Haven said. "Your intuition allows me to act faster than any system alone could." Ethan smiled. "And you make me even faster." Together, we're unstoppable. After a tense chase, the alien ships retreated. Ethan laughed quietly, feeling the rush of victory. He realized something important. Humans were underestimated because other species could not imagine the creativity and intuition that humans had. With this ship, they were unstoppable in ways no one else could predict. As they continued their journey, Ethan discovered abandoned colonies and lost civilizations. Some had been destroyed in wars long ago, others had simply disappeared. Each discovery brought new knowledge, and the cruiser recorded everything automatically. Haven guided him, showing ways to approach planets safely and analyze signs of life or technology without disturbing it. One night, while orbiting a small blue planet, Ethan discovered something extraordinary. Hidden beneath the planet's surface was a structure made of energy and metal, ancient and massive. It pulsed with a rhythm similar to the ship's own energy. Ethan felt a strange connection. "What is this?" he asked. Haven replied softly, "This is a guardian like me, but from another era. It has been waiting for someone capable, just like you." Ethan's heart raced. "Waiting for a human?" "Yes," Haven said. "Humans are unique. Your species can adapt, understand, and connect with systems in ways no one else can. This guardian may hold knowledge that could change the galaxy." Ethan decided to investigate. He guided the cruiser down to the planet's surface, carefully landing near the structure. Energy flowed from it in patterns he had never seen. As he approached, the structure opened, revealing chambers and halls inside. Strange glyphs glowed on the walls, and he could feel the power radiating from within. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. "There's so much to learn," Haven spoke in agreement. "Yes, and humans can unlock it. You are the key." Ethan spent days inside the structure, analyzing systems, energy patterns, and recordings left behind. He realized that the structure was part of a network, a series of guardians designed to protect knowledge and powerful technology. Most species could not understand it. Most humans would have been afraid, but he was not. With the help of Haven, he began connecting the cruiser to the guardian systems. Energy flowed between them, systems synchronized, and new knowledge became accessible. He learned about energy manipulation, faster-than-light travel, and defensive technologies that could protect entire civilizations. As he studied, he realized the truth. Humans had always been underestimated in the galaxy. They were not the strongest or the fastest, but they had something no other species did: intuition, creativity, and adaptability. With the cruiser and guardians like this one, humans could reach their true potential. Word began to spread through nearby sectors. Aliens and civilizations heard of a human traveling with a ship that seemed alive, discovering lost knowledge and surviving dangers that no one else could. Some were afraid, some were curious, but all began to realize that humans were not weak. They had an edge that no one could match. Ethan understood this, but he also knew the responsibility. He could not use this power recklessly. The cruiser and the knowledge it unlocked were tools for protection, discovery, and learning, not domination. He spent weeks planning his journey, deciding which systems to explore, which civilizations to help, and which dangers to avoid. One day, he encountered a small human colony under attack by space pirates. The colony had no defenses, and the pirates were fast and well-armed. Ethan guided the cruiser into orbit, using its systems to shield the planet and disrupt the pirates' ships. The pirates tried to fight, but the cruiser's adaptive systems predicted every move. Within hours, the pirates were gone, fleeing into deep space. The humans on the colony cheered. They had never seen anything like this. Ethan realized that humans were not just survivors. They could be protectors, explorers, and leaders. And with the cruiser, they could make a real difference in the galaxy. After the battle, Ethan looked out at the stars. "This is just the beginning," he said to Haven. "Yes," Haven replied. "There is much to learn, many secrets to discover, and humans will continue to surprise the galaxy." Ethan smiled. He had come to a deserted auction looking for a ship, but he had found so much more. He had found a partner, a guide, and a key to humanity's true potential. With Haven, he could explore the stars, protect humans, and uncover knowledge that no one else could. As the cruiser lifted off from the colony and into the depths of space, Ethan felt hope and excitement. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers. But humans had a hidden edge, and now they had a ship capable of showing the universe what they could do. The stars stretched out before him, endless and full of promise. The cruiser hummed beneath his hands, alive and ready. Together, they would face the unknown, unlock secrets, and prove that humans were capable of far more than anyone had ever imagined. Ethan leaned back in the pilot's chair, feeling the ship respond to his thoughts. He smiled. "Let's go," he said quietly. "Yes," Haven replied. "The universe is waiting." And with that, the cruiser surged forward, faster than light, carrying a human pilot and his living ship into the stars, into adventures and discoveries that would change the future of humanity forever. I got a galactic cruiser at a deserted auction. Then I discovered its secrets.